It's interesting too. A lot of times we react to things before we're aware of them. And also, there's the discussion of free will, where some scientists argue that they've done studies that show they'll give someone a choice of two things, and they know what the brain looks like when it makes a certain choice between the two, and the brain waves are produced before the person is aware that they're going to make that choice. So it's like their mind, but I think that's just a slow connection between the wetware and the hardware. I think the brain is aware of what it's going to do before the rest of the interface activates. You know what I mean? Like I think there's a slight delay or something, but there's another aspect of that where when you're talking about like the amygdala, like the fear response and stuff, it reacts faster than the cerebral cortex. So like a good example is, and I've told Daniel about this. I got home one day and I was walking into the house and I reached to shut the garage door, push the button to shut the garage door, and I got this feeling like the spine tingling thing, and I pulled my hand back, and then I saw a big spider on the button. But I had the reaction before I had the awareness that there was a spider on the button. But my body reacted to it. You know, the amygdala reacted before my cerebral cortex was even aware that there was a spider on the button. And I was like, "Whoa, that's a weird experience." It's like an autonomous experience.
So I think too, though, you talk about some of this like free will, and Matthew McConaughey says if you don't believe in free will, then start running all the stoplights. All the stop signs, right? Like to see, like you have the ability to dictate an outcome. And so I'm going to do a terrible job explaining it, but I think there's there's these things that are going to take place on a biological level. Maybe our mind has already made the decision before we verbalize it, right? But then there at some point there's the ability, even though we've made a decision, to make a different one.
Right. Yeah.
And like running a red light, knowing that if you believed that everything was going to happen regardless of what you did in the same way, then run a red light and get hit by a car, right? Like it's over and over and over again, so you could change your destiny, if you will.
I think free will is kind of a combination. I think some of it is. I think there's definitely a lot of our experience that's dictated by all of the things around us, all of our circumstances. But then there's also this ability that we have to come up with new ideas, or I don't think any ideas are new ideas, but to share ideas and manipulate ideas and make choices. But and then also on another level, if the many worlds theory is true or something like that's true, and we're all the same thing and we're everything, it really doesn't matter because it's all happening.
Yeah.
Like every possible combination of things that could happen is happening. So there, like if you regret not doing that thing that you didn't do, well, guess what? You did it, just not in this universe.
We'll have to ask Jet Li how he feels about it. Did you ever watch The One? I think it was called The One.
I have not.
Yeah, it's basically essentially, you should check it out. It's got Jet Li in it, and it's martial arts based, but essentially there's basically a many worlds theory going on, and he's going from world to world to world, killing himself. Really, here's the sci-fi part of it, and every time he eliminates one of the versions of him, all the remaining versions become stronger. And so the whole thing is there can only be one. So he literally goes to every single world and eliminates himself. And I guess the theory now, the problem here is it assumes he's the same person in every single world.
Yeah, and you can't access other dimensions or other universes. Right.
So it's really interesting, but I'm gonna have to go back and watch that movie now. It may give me a different take on it.
Yeah.
So it seemed really scientific then. Sci-fi, it's probably even further so now.
Have you seen The Watchmen?
No.
I haven't seen it either. I've seen little parts of it, but someone was telling me about that recently, and they said that the blue guy.
Yeah.
What's his name, Jesse?
Doctor something, I forget.
Yeah. Anyway, he's like a god, basically. But he doesn't experience time the way we do, and time maybe time is gravity, right? But the perception of time may not be real. Like so mass bends space-time, and it creates gravity, and gravity and time are like one and the same. So it pulls time in, or that's how I've seen it explained, which makes sense. So like we're fighting against time. That's why it kills us. That's why it's tearing down our bodies. If you were traveling through space, you would age much slower because there's much less mass near you, and you're much less massive. So there's less. You're bending space much less.
Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but there's also this theory that time may not. Our perception of time may not be accurate. Everything may be happening all at once simultaneously, and Dr. Manhattan, in The Watchmen, he experiences time all at once. So he's I can't remember who I was talking to, but they were telling me that. So there's a scene in the movie where Dr. Manhattan's talking to this girl that he likes, that they have a relationship or something, and he tells her, he's like, well, right now we're in this moment, but we're also having dinner in the future, and we're in bed together in the future. We're doing all these different things, and I'm doing all these things with you simultaneously. You're just not aware of it.
Yeah, she was like mad because like he was sleeping with her, but then he was also like doing there were all these other selves of him doing all this work. She was mad that that she was devoting her time.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah. So our perception of our perception of time, if we can expand our minds that much, may change also. So if you consider increasing your intelligence by 1 billion times, well, suddenly your experience of time is going to be way different too, because what seems like a minute to us now in our human brain, human bodies, might be thousands or millions of years. You could potentially live lifetimes and then take a break and eat some food and then go back.